Imagine this. You come home from school after a long Wednesday, you're very tired, you just want to lie down, get some video games in. But then you realize, I have a test tomorrow, I gotta study for that. But then your mom gets a phone call and everything is changed. School is suspended, the state is going into a lockdown, and you're gonna be stuck at home for an indefinite period. That is what happened to me on March 12th of 2020, and that is something that everyone around the globe has faced at some point. Welcome to episode 2 of COVID-19 Chats with Raghav Khosla. In this series, I interviewed 22 different people in an effort to understand how similarly and how differently were we affected by this pandemic. I wanted to really understand what we can learn from this pandemic and how we can grow from it, which is why I interviewed people from around the world, from different countries, different genders, different races, really just to understand what has this pandemic taught us and how can we grow as a people. In this episode, you will encounter 7 different perspectives of people from 4 different nationalities and a wide range of ages. My discussions with each of them focused on connectivity and communication during this time because those are 2 aspects that were greatly impacted during the pandemic. So without further ado, let's get right into the first interview of the 2nd episode of COVID-19 Chats with Raghav Khosla.
It varies, but most mornings I'm up at 8, then my first lesson's at 9, my second lesson normally between 11 and 12, and then I do like an hour or 2 of work, then I have lunch, and then I've just prep in that time of work, just homework for the next day, and then I have lunch, and then I spend my afternoons doing jobs on the farm, or I've started a fitness challenge, and in the evenings I've been FaceTiming my friends. Yeah, 100%, because I don't know if it's because I'm just quite a social. I like talking to friends. I like chatting with people all the time. Or if it's because, so that could be one reason. Or maybe the other one is like, when I go back to school, I don't want to just be like, I don't know, haven't talked to my friends for ages. It's just a bit awkward. So just keeping going, I think, is quite an important thing. I think something that I've always been told by my mum is like, you can't like judge a book by its cover. Like you have to be respectful to anyone when you meet them. Like, just you don't know what someone's going through, right? You don't know if, I don't know, just example, their mum has cancer or something like that, right? So I think that's quite a big thing because now coming out of this, you don't really know who's been affected, who's had a family member pass away or their best friend or something like that. So I think that's quite a big thing that I'll take away. Sort of remembering that you have to stay like, especially now, like just respectful to everyone.
Being in class, because that in class feeling is much more different than like sitting at a desk at home where you can easily get distracted. Whereas if you're in a class environment, then everyone's trying to learn and you all try to help everyone else learn as much as they possibly can. Whereas here, it's just like you're on your own. Oh yeah, obviously. So my family has started this thing where every single Saturday we will have a Zoom call. Or Saturday I have a Zoom call with the people on my dad's side, and then on Sunday I have a Zoom call with the people on my mom's side. So then I can just talk to all my family because a lot of them are in India, so we don't even get to see them that often because the last time I went to India was 5 years ago. So it's been a while since I've seen them, but Zoom gives us a way to like actually have some face-to-face interaction. Obviously doesn't make up for the fact that like you're not there or you can't like be together with them. I think the importance of there are a lot. I think the most important one is the importance of like keeping key relationships in your life, because when you keep those key relationships, you have people to talk to, you have people to who are similar to you, going through similar situations right now. So it's just one more thing to bond over once we get out of the quarantine. And um, yeah.
So generally I stick to office hours, which for us is 8:30 in the morning till about 6 in the evening. However, I'm in the operations branch of my division, so we've been in charge of it. We have this thing in Singapore, it's called safe entry. So every time you leave your house and you enter a different building or a different structure, you have a QR code that you scan, and you use your NRIC number, which is like kind of like our social security number in Singapore. So everyone has a unique one, and you tap in and out of these locations. So if anyone in those locations is found to have COVID, like we can track back, we can do contact tracing and all of that. So I've actually been working on that. Okay, yeah. So I honestly, I believe that it has. It's still evolving because Singapore just extended our kind of quarantine, so we're easing out of it. But essentially, for the majority of people, it's the same as before. So we added another 4 weeks. I think it started early May, and now it's going on till the end of June. So I mean, now it's a bit. We need a bit more understanding. And in Singapore, it's not like the US where we have houses and stuff. We don't have a backyard, and it's apartments, so it's a very cramped space. I mean, you used to live in Singapore, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just need a bit more understanding. We need to work around everyone's schedules because my brother may be in class. My mom may have a meeting. I may have a meeting, or I may be out. And then kind of, it's changed in the sense that responsibility has shifted. So my dad's working from home, my mom's working from home, and my brother, he's at school. So what happens is, to minimize kind of the risk that they have for their health, I started doing groceries and started running errands for them. Since I'm out of the house anyway, I figured that it might be better just to, since I'm already out, like I might as well do everything else for the family. So it's been a bit more hectic for me, but I think it's worth, protecting my family and minimizing their risk. So I think that preparedness is a big thing, and you kind of have to be on top of it, and we have to overestimate crises and stuff. So some countries that responded a bit later, struggled. Some who responded really early, they were more successful. And it's kind of just, you have to work together, and you have to really think things through. Like in the past, I believe that as long as you have your basis right, you can kind of adapt on the fly. But this is a situation where you have to do that, but you want to think like 2 or 3 steps ahead. You want to have contingencies in place where it may not happen, but if it does happen, you'll be glad that you covered that base.
So we're 3 adults. We spent our days pretty much locked up in 3 different rooms because each of us has fairly hectic work schedules. I didn't see that let up at all for any of us, really. So days were spent, doing that, sort of really doing your own thing, your own work, etc. Evenings, obviously, when all of us would get off work and, just talking and catching up, because for us, we've not had our son home. I mean, he left home for college 8-9 years ago. And since then, went on to work, etc. So it's been absolutely unusual and wonderful to have had him home after really a long time. So he's a man. He's an adult, and just getting to see him as he is today, every day, getting to know him again in that sense has been absolutely fantastic. I actually really enjoy working from home. I've been, and I think there are a number of reasons for that. I live in Bangalore, but my work, my job, or my role is across the region. So, in any case, even on a normal day, no lockdown, no COVID, nothing, my work was heavily dependent on staying connected through technology. So the point I'm making is that because of that, I think the family really jumped in, okay, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that my, the boy who I'd sent off when he was a teenager to college, and in India you don't expect them to do any lift a finger because there's so much support, right, in the house that you have. And that boy, today a man sort of was just, I mean, okay, mom, just forget this. I mean, this is, I'm on it, and he handled mountains of dishes. My husband said, you're not going to do any of the cleaning. So whether it's the house cleaning, the bathrooms, so literally my family just jumped in. So the point is, I think just we're so grateful for the privilege that we have, and being safe and having a job, and connected with our families, and so no, we're safe, secure. My parents have done well through the lockdown. My mom was fighting cancer when the pandemic started, and she had to continue going for her radiation treatments. She did that all through this pandemic. She was wearing her PPE, her mask and gloves, and setting off every day to get her treatment done. And so grateful that she could do that. And my mom-in-law did well. She's been able to reach us last week. So just gratitude, just grateful for everything that's been fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what we are is connecting with our family through Zoom, right? I mean, my wife has organized a few happy hours, virtual happy hours, right? Which is something new for us, and I think we have been connecting even more with people that is close to us. It's interesting, when you go through these crises, you really start to appreciate things that you take for granted. So to be honest with you, my personal connection with my sister, with my nephews, with my mom is actually more than before, right? It's sad to say that, but that's the reality. Well, I mean, from Monday to Friday is pretty packed. The agenda is back to back. I start with my exercise in the morning very early, maybe 5 a.m. I go back to meditation at least 5 minutes after I do my exercise. Then breakfast, and then meetings. I think in the last 2 months I've been very careful to build in my agenda moments for myself, where I block. Just maybe I go down and walk around the block with my dog. Otherwise, it becomes very exhausting to be one video call after the other. It's very tiring. So I found that building those small moments for recovery, even if it is just walking to the kitchen, which I'm in a small apartment, so it's not I walk that much, but walking to the kitchen and focusing myself on preparing me a cup of tea, doing something for myself, it helps, right? Sometimes I do 15 push-ups, just to get the body and the blood to, circulate in a different way after being sitting for hours. So yeah, that's how a day is, and at the end of the day, it's dinner and connecting with my family in Argentina. Typically, I have my calls at night. Uh, I think what I learned is we have lived our lives in a certain way, maybe in an automatic way, right? And the pandemic, sadly, the pandemic put a pause in our lives, right? And that pause, had obviously negative consequences, but there are some positive consequences because it forced everyone, not you or me, it's really everyone at the same time to reflect what is extremely important, what is important, and what is nice to have, or maybe not important. So what I hope for the future is that we all reflect on the important things, the things that we want to secure for humanity, right? And we work together to secure them, to safeguard, right? I mean, climate, right? The quality of the air. And I can see from my condo now all the way into Indiana,
Yeah.
which is, if you go to Kathmandu, you can see Everest from Kathmandu. That didn't happen for 30 years. So why do you want to roll back that all those things, right? So I hope, after the pandemic, we really secure the things that we recover, right? Because if we don't, I will be sad myself, right?
Well, especially because I go to boarding school, I don't have enough time with my mom, and she works. So when I do come home for the holidays, she has work. But now because of the pandemic, we're both at home. So at any point of time in the day, she has another person in the house, and then we work out together and we watch movies together and all the things we couldn't do before.
That's
I think because of the pandemic and how long I won't see my friends, it's become that much more important to talk with them. So like just recently was my friend's birthday, so then I stay up a little bit later for the time zone, but I call my friends out all the time at night, and we share what's going on even if nothing's going on. Something that I think I've learned over this pandemic is that you can make anything work. For example, is it ideal that I have to stay until, like, take my APs at midnight or stay up for a class at 2 a.m.? Of course it isn't, but I can make it work. I was a huge kind of dependent on the gym. I did not like cardio or anything, but here I am figuring things out because, you don't have a gym, or, I've been a person who, I don't know, I guess growing up maybe didn't text people a lot, or I didn't put in that effort to call people as much because I know I would be able to see them. But now, because I know I can't, I found a way to make that work too.
like
I mean, I try to go by my routine. Like, I try to study in the mornings, and I try to do mostly my hobbies in the evening, like basketball or sometimes painting. And I play with my brother a lot. They give us like 1 week's work to finish throughout Sunday, and it's a lot. And sometimes they make like Zoom video calls or like Google Meet, and we're supposed to attend them just to say like hi or ask questions. Yes, it is very important to me. I like being close to my friends and family.
And with that, I would like to wrap up the second episode of COVID-19 Chats with Raghav Khosla. I hope that this series is serving its purpose in the sense that you're able to enhance your daily lives from what you're learning from this series. There are many similar and different takes on this pandemic, and I hope that at least one person's answer has struck you as meaningful and you can apply that to your life. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to leave a like down below, and if you're new to this channel, subscribe as well. If you want to share what you learned or you have any feedback for me, I would love to hear it in the comment section down below. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode of COVID-19 Chats with Raghav Khosla. Thanks for your time.